at Google Sheets. That's going to give you the ability to create presentations for instructional use or other presentations that you might be doing. They are collaborative, just like all of the other tools. So you can share them with other people and give them either editing access or view access, or you can keep the presentations totally to yourself. To create a presentation, you come into Google Drive, you click on the New button, and Google Slides. So from here, you'll see that it looks very similar to PowerPoint or Keynote if you're familiar with those, and it's going to give you the ability to create slide decks or presentations. So I'm going to show you just a little bit around this tool so you can get an idea of how to work with it. The first thing I'd suggest is up in the top left-hand corner, give your presentation a name. And then you'll see that it did auto-save. These things are saved every time you make a new change, so you can always go back in a version history if you need. If you are collaborating with another person, you'll also see all of the modifications and edits that they have done as well. Coming here through the menu bars, we have our file menu. You have your share button where you'd be able to share with either viewers or collaborators on this document. You can also share and have people doing suggestions or comments only. So they won't actually change your presentation, they're just going to add comments into kind of the margins of yours. So maybe you'll have a student create a presentation and maybe you'll be the commenter, so you can leave notes into their presentation. Or if you create a presentation and share it with students, maybe you want them not to change your whole presentation, you just want them to leave comments or feedback on your presentation, ask them a question, have them respond in the margins. You can do that here. Your new menu is going to allow you to create a new Google presentation, document, spreadsheet, form, or drawing. Your open is going to be if you have a pre-made presentation, you can do that here. You can open it. You can import slides from a previously made presentation. You can make a copy of an entire presentation or selected slides. This is really nice because sometimes you're given a presentation and maybe your colleague made it and you want to just take a snippet of what they've done and then add your own flair to it. You can do that with the selected slide. You can email this right out either as an attachment or if you have shared it with someone else, you'll be able to add them as collaborators. If you want to download it as a PowerPoint file, a PDF document, image files, those are all here. If you want to use this offline, meaning you're going to be using this without internet, you can make it available offline by clicking here. You can look at your version history. Like I mentioned earlier, you'll be saving this every time, or it auto saves every time you make a change, so you can always go back and look at those version histories. It's super nice to see either what students have done or what your colleagues have done if you're worried about them changing your presentation. You can rename your file here. You can move it to a folder within Google Drive for organizing right here. You can add a shortcut, move to trash, publish to the web, giving it a unique URL that you can share on a website, in an email, things like that. Document details is going to give you specific information about who authored it, when it was created, all of those things. If you need to change the language of your presentation, you can do that here. Page setup is going to allow you to change the size ratio of your presentation. So if you know that you're going to be presenting in kind of a unique space with a unique projector or something like that, you'd be able to do that here. You have your print settings. So there are people that like to create kind of slide decks for instruction, and maybe you want to share this with your students as a handout where they've got areas to take their own notes. You can do that. You can change some different features here. You can either download it as a PDF and email it out, or you could print it and have a hard copy as well. You also just have the straight print button here if you need to go ahead and print your slides for yourself. Your edit menu is going to give you your undo and redo features, your cut, copy, and paste, paste without formatting features. You also have your delete and duplicate feature. Select all is going to select everything within one slide. And you also have your find and replace. That's going to give you the ability to look for words or phrases of words and replace them with something else. Your view menu is going to allow you to go into presentation mode. This here we'll look at in just a minute when we also look at the presentation button over here on the side. Then you have your motion button. This is how you'll add transitions and animations. That's how you kind of level up a presentation and make it look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing or make it a little fancier if you want. You can have a master. So this will allow you to do is to create different layouts for how you want all of the slides to look within your presentation. You have your grid view if you want to look at all of your presentation as one kind of grid. It's just a personal preference. You can't do much editing when you have them that small, so I suggest having it kind of in this normal editing view. You have your zoom feature. You have a ruler that you can toggle on and off at the top. You have some guidelines. So what that's going to do is give you kind of an idea of where things, so if you want things continually lined up in certain areas, you'll be able to move and add those grid lines just to kind of help you with the aesthetics of the presentation. You've also got the ability to snap to, so whether you want it to automatically snap to the middle or one of those guidelines, you can change that here. You can have turn on and off the speaker notes. The speaker notes reside at the bottom here. Depending on how your presentation mode is, you'll either see those speaker notes or you won't. This is a nice place to just kind of put some extra information about what you're saying in your presentation. Your full screen is going to just basically take away your toolbars up here at the top to give you a little bit more room to work. Your insert menu, you're going to have your ability to add images. Those are things directly from your computer, from Google Drive or other Google image searches. If you have something in Google Photos, a unique URL, or turn on the camera right on your computer. You can add a text box, an audio, a video, a shape, a table, a chart, a diagram, word art, different types of lines. Special characters are going to be unique symbols that you might need, whether they're math symbols, little arrows, little emojis, things like that you might need. Animations, that's not currently illuminated black because I don't have anything selected. So maybe if I wanted to have a word and I want it to be animated, you can select something and then that comes up, and so I can add an animation to it. I can add a hyperlink here. I can add a comment, which is something that is like a post-it note over in the margins over here that would link directly to something in the presentation. You can add a new slide. You can change slide numbers, however you want that to be. And you can also add placeholder slides. If you know you've got something that you need on slide 2, you can add a placeholder there. You can change your format of how you want your text to look. So you can change all those different things about how your text is looking, how it's aligned within your presentation, how it's spaced out, how your bulleting and numbering goes. If you did add a table from the insert menu, you'll be able to change and modify how that table looks. If you need to clear the formatting for everything, you can just clear formatting here. You can change your borders and lines. You can kind of add a little bit more to the formatting options right there. Under the slide menu, you'll be able to create a new slide. You can duplicate a slide that's already been done. You can delete a slide, you can skip a slide, or you can move a slide. So move a slide is if you just need to move things around and shuffle them around. You can also over here in the thumbnail bar just grab and drop, like drag and drop over here. If you want to change the background of how your slides look, you click on change background. If you want a certain layout, so do you want it to be a title slide versus number slide versus a main point slide, all of those are right in here. Your transitions from slide to slide can be done here. You can edit your master, which was also found over in the view menu. And you can also change the theme of your slide, which I'll show you again in another place in just a moment. Your arrange is going to be how things look within a slide. So if you have an image and text, you can decide on the order on which they are and layered on your slide. How you're aligning things, how you're distributing them on the page. If you want to center them horizontally or vertically, they'll automatically snap to those positions. If you want to rotate something, you can do that here. You can group and ungroup to move things as groups, or if you don't want things grouped, you would ungroup them. If you need to find your spelling, you can do those here. Your Explore button is going to give you suggestions as to how to do things to advance your presentation. If you need to link objects, you can do that here. If you need to add or modify your dictionary, you can do that here. If you want to add voice speaker notes, so that would be like if I wanted to almost record my voice doing a version of this presentation, you can do your speaker notes right there. If you wanted to add computer code, you can do that with the script editor. Your preferences is going to be how you like your Google Sheets to work. Your accessibility settings, they are not super thorough, but they are some nice settings that are added in here. Your add-ons are going to be kind of like an app store where you can get additional features that allow you to do more within Google Slides. Your help menu is going to allow you to, again, search for if you're stuck on something, you know you want to do something, you can type it in here and it will try to help you through how to do that. So coming down to the toolbar, you have your slide. You can either click the plus button and it will give you another slide, or you can click the down arrow and it will give you the types of slides that you can add. Your undo and redo button, your print button, your paint format, that's going to copy formats from one slide to another. If you need to zoom, if you need to select, the little arrow needs to be on. If you add a text box, you can just click on it and add a text box. If you wanted to add an image, again, just like the insert menu, you've got that all of those options here. Your shapes, your lines. If you want to fill the options. So again, when I click off of these items, you'll see that some of the toolbar changes. So if you want to click on something, you'll see that some of the options change. So how I want this particular box to look. Do I want to change the color, the border color, the weight of the border, how that border looks, the text, all of that's located right in here. If I want to add a hyperlink to the text right here, hyperlinks can be added to text, images, and other stationary items. A comment is going to be a sticky note that resides again over in the margins on left or right hand side. How you're justifying your text, how it's spacing it, numbering, bulleting, how it's indented. If you want to clear all of your formatting, you do that here. When I click off, you'll see I have nothing highlighted in blue. I'm now greeted with the background, so I have the ability to change the entire slide background if you want to make it fancy. You can also change it into an image, so if you wanted everything to be a certain background image, you can do that here. You can also reset, or you could create your own theme that you're going to use on a regular basis. Your layout is going to, again, be how your slide looks. Your theme are pre-made themes that you can find here. You can also import themes if you have something downloaded from another website. You can do that here. Transition is going to be how you transition from slide to slide. Down here at the bottom, you've got your thumbnail view versus your grid view. Like we mentioned earlier, if you wanted to look at all of your slides kind of as a grid, you can do that there. Up here in the top right-hand corner, you've got your comment history. So again, those are those sticky notes. You can look at all of the comments that were made in kind of a timeline fashion. The presentation button, you can either click present, which is going to bring you into your normal presentation mode where the whole slide comes full screen. Or if you click the down button, you can present from the beginning, or you can go to presenter view where you've got the ability to see speaker notes. You also have a little timer up here at the top and all different features here. If you have, if you wanted to get more advanced, there are some audience participation tools that you can get. Audience Q&A, you can get where you create new audience, things like that. So you're given a unique URL here, you would give that to someone and then you'd be able to turn on or off the accepting questions. So you could ask students to type in questions or responses to what you're asking to make it more interactive. And you'll see that in my presentation mode, I've also gotten the ask a question at that unique URL as well. The share button is going to, again, allow me to share out information or share this presentation with others. So that is Google Slides. It's a pretty straightforward tool that allows you to create some pretty dynamic presentations. Remember, they are collaborative, so you can share and edit these with students, with other teachers, or you can just keep them for yourself.